If you love arcade games, the Switch is basically a treasure chest. Run and guns, bullet hells, fighters, platformers, all the good stuff. Today, I'm counting down 35 of the absolute best arcade games on Switch right now. Let's get into it. UFO 50 packs 50 brand new original games into one package, all designed to feel like they came from a fictional studio called UFO Soft back in the 80s. When you boot it up, 50 dusty cartridges greet you. Pick one, dust it off, discover it. Platformers, shooters, RPGs, puzzle games, strategy games, every genre is here. Some take 5 minutes, others eat up hours. The genius is presenting games in release order, so you can watch the fictional studio evolve, with sequels building on earlier ideas and characters crossing over. Standouts include Mortal, a puzzle platformer where sacrificing your lives solves puzzles, and Bug Hunter, a tense tactical card game. Everything runs on just a D-pad and 2 buttons. No tutorials, no hand-holding, pure discovery. For $25, this is one of the best value propositions on Switch. Ninja 5.0 used to cost over $300 for a physical GBA cartridge. Now it's on Switch. You play as Joe Osugi, a detective turned ninja, stopping a group called the Mad Masks Terrorists, empowered by mystical masks. Side-scrolling action with sword attacks, shurikens, and the real star, a grappling hook. At first, the hook is frustrating. You'll fly into walls and enemy fire constantly. Then it clicks. Suddenly, you're swinging between platforms like a ninja Spider-Man, chaining momentum mid-battle. 5 missions, 3 stages each, plus boss fights and hostage rescues. Joe levels up through play, becoming a powerhouse if you stay unhit. The Switch release adds save states, rewind, an animated intro, and an art gallery. It's short and old-school hard, but the grappling hook movement system remains genuinely special even now. Slave 0X. You play as Sho, a resistance warrior who steals and fuses with a giant biomechanical suit, becoming a revenge-fueled killing machine set on murdering a false god from the city's corrupted foundations. A 2.5D hack and slash with 2D sprites in 3D environments, giving it a stunning late 90s arcade look. Combat does not reward button mashing. You need combos, light attacks, heavy attacks, directional inputs to survive. There's a parry system, air juggling, wall jumps, and a dash. When you get into a flow of combos and cancels, it's absolutely incredible. The art direction is dark and stunning, with fully voiced characters and a surprisingly emotional story. Runs about 4 to 5 hours. The Switch version has some frame rate hiccups, but the core game is stylish, brutal, and unlike anything else on the platform.
Unit 7, any Berman to report.
Andro Dunos 2. You pilot the Yellow Cherry across 7 stages to end an alien war. Instead of collecting weapons from the ground, you start with all 4 types unlocked: spread, homing laser, twin shot, and rear cannon. Cycle them with L and R anytime. Each upgrades separately using orbs from downed enemies, and each has a rechargeable hyper shot, a big screen-filling burst. Stage design is more R-type than bullet hell methodical pattern reading, with strong set pieces including asteroid belts and underwater sections. Enemies appear in the background first as a warning. Bosses are screen-filling and loud. 3 difficulty options and a boss rush mode round things out. No online leaderboards is a genuine miss, but the core shooting is excellent. Exactly what a 90s arcade horizontal shooter felt like, rebuilt for modern hardware. DrillLand finally arrived on Switch, and it's a gem. Drill downward through colored blocks, reach the bottom without getting crushed or running out of oxygen. Blocks of the same color latch together when adjacent, so block physics matter. DrillLand wraps this into 5 themed attractions at a fictional underground amusement park. World Drill Tour is the classic mode. Drindy Adventure adds Indiana Jones elements, golden statues, rolling boulders. Horror Night House has you fighting ghosts with holy water. Star Driller throws in mystery blocks. The whole of Druaga turns it into a mini RPG dungeon crawl with bosses. Each mode plays differently while keeping the same core. The Switch version adds casual mode, full HD visuals, and English subtitles for the first time. Charming, deep, and endlessly replayable. Cave is royalty in bullet hell, and Mushihimesama is one of their finest. Originally from 2004 arcades, fully on Switch with every version. The world is overrun by giant insects that nearly wiped out humanity. You play as Princess Rico, riding a golden beetle, fighting back across 5 stages of spectacular chaos. All enemy bullets are purple, always making them dramatically easier to track. Your hitbox is tiny, letting you thread impossible gaps. 3 shot types offer different spread and power trade-offs. Scoring rewards staying near danger, more bullets on screen when you kill something equals more gems. Switch packs in Original, Maniac, and Ultra modes. Ultra is genuinely terrifying, plus a range mode and the revamped version 1.5. Novice mode makes this a perfect bullet hell entry point. If you've been curious about Cave's catalog, start here. Sega Ages Out Run is one of the most iconic arcade games ever made. Yu Suzuki's 1986 masterpiece puts you behind the wheel of a Ferrari Testarossa cruising sun-drenched scenery to legendary radio tracks. Reach one of 5 endings before the timer runs out. At each stage, the road splits. You choose your path through 15 total courses. No opponents, just the clock and curves. The Sega Ages version by M2 is definitive. True 60 frames per second widescreen, online leaderboards with replay watching, motion controls, extra music tracks rearranged in arcade style, and unlockable assists that ease cornering and boost top speed. Finish all routes and you unlock a faithful, original arcade recreation. It's a short game, any run takes minutes, but branching paths and score chasing make it endlessly replayable. Blazing Chrome. This pure run-and-gun is made in the vein of classic Contra and Metal Slug. You pick Mavra, a human warrior, or Doyle, a rebel robot. 2 more ninja-themed characters unlock later with melee-focused playstyles. Weapons float in from the sky, fusion blasters, lasers, grenade launchers. Drones attach and grant perks, a shield, double jump, or extra attack. 1 hit kills. That's the whole tension. Level design takes you through industrial wastelands, labs, and flying fortresses packed with mini-bosses and massive encounters. 2-player co-op is supported, plus a boss rush mode after completion. Short, 2 to 3 hours, but plays beautifully. Gorgeous pixel art, a heavy soundtrack, and every session feels like a proper arcade run with that old-school energy intact throughout. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Made by the Game Kitchen, the Blasphemous team, this is 2D Ninja Gaiden done right. While Ryu heads to America for revenge, his student Kenji stays behind as the Demon World barrier shatters and monsters pour in. Kenji teams with Kumori, a rival ninja, and they fight through 18 stages of stunning pixel art action. Kenji climbs walls, throws shurikens, and performs a guillotine slash, a diving attack that bounces off enemies and projectiles mid-air. Kumori plays differently, adding real variety to replays. Locations range from Japanese mountains to city subways. The soundtrack remixes classic Ninja Gaiden themes alongside new compositions. Normal difficulty is accessible, but hard mode unlocked post-completion delivers the punishing challenge the series is famous for. The legendary run-and-gun series is back, built by WayForward, who also made Contra 4. It's a reimagining of the original NES classic with modern visuals. Bill Reiser and Lance Bean are sent to the Galuga archipelago, where a Red Falcon terrorist invasion has alien roots underneath. 8 stages of escalating action. Classic weapons, spread, laser, flame, homing, now have a stackable upgrade system. Pick up the same weapon twice to power it up. A third time unlocks an overload burst. 5 playable characters unlock through story mode with unique mechanics. Ariana slides, Lucia's gun charges, Ironside uses a jetpack. Health bar and classic one-hit modes both available. Up to 4 players in arcade mode. The Switch version holds 30 frames per second solidly. Not the longest game, but it nails what Contra is. Fast, loud, constantly escalating, and enormous fun with a friend. 10 classic Taito arcade games, possibly the strongest lineup in the series. Headliners are Bubble Bobble and Rainbow Islands. Bubble Bobble is the timeless co-op game where bubble dragons trap monsters and collect bonuses. One of the greatest co-op arcade games ever made. Rainbow Islands follows Bub and Bob as humans using rainbow powers to climb vertical stages. The full Rostin Saga trilogy. 3 barbarian hack-and-slash games with the third entry, Warrior Blade, the standout with its widescreen arcade presentation. Growl is a brawler where you protect animals from poachers, elephants ramming tanks included. Dead Connection is a bizarre FBI top-down shooter. Champion Wrestler, Thunder Fox, and Kadash, a full arcade RPG round things out. 3 games here aren't sold separately anywhere. Solid emulation throughout, great value for arcade history fans. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Pure arcade joy in handheld form. Banana Mania remasters 3 classic GameCube games, Super Monkey Ball 1, 2, and Deluxe, with over 300 stages of deceptively simple, deeply challenging gameplay. Your monkey sits inside a ball, and you tilt the entire stage to roll them to the goal within a time limit. You control the world, not the monkey. That flip changes everything. Early stages are gentle, later ones feature tiny platforms, moving pieces, and narrow paths over bottomless drops, requiring precise momentum control. A full party game suite adds monkey race, bowling, golf, and soccer, each genuinely fun. Unlockable guests include Sonic, Tails, and Beat from Jet Set Radio. It's impossible to play for just 5 minutes because there's always one more stage to try. The Rumblefish 2. An arcade fighter from 2005 with a dedicated cult following, now properly preserved with modern online play. Visuals are striking, 2.5D characters rendered with a distinctive ink wash illustration style that still holds up beautifully. Combat is built around a dynamic guard system. Absorbing attacks fills a tension meter, powering special moves and supers. A clash system creates dramatic standoffs when attacks collide, shifting momentum entirely. The roster is smaller than most fighters, but every character has a distinct, well-developed playstyle. Rollback netcode for smooth online included. A niche pick for fighting game enthusiasts specifically, but the combat depth and visual style are genuinely unique, a fighter that doesn't feel like anything else currently on the platform. Capcom Fighting Collection 2. 9 overlooked classic Capcom fighters now properly available with online play and museum content. Capcom vs. SNK and Capcom vs. SNK 2 are genuine crossover masterpieces, CVS2 especially, with 6 groove systems letting you customize meter mechanics pulling from SF, KOF, and Alpha. Power Stone and Power Stone 2 are frenetic 3D arena brawlers where you grab weapons, transform, and smash opponents across destructible stages, fantastic in local multiplayer. Plasma Sword is Capcom's sci-fi fighter and an interesting curiosity. Each game includes training modes and rollback netcode. CVS2 remains one of the most strategically rich fighting games ever designed. Power Stone 2 is one of the great party fighters that barely anyone got to play originally. Konami's Gradius series defined the horizontal shooter genre, and this collection covers the foundational games. You fly the Vic Viper through alien waves using the Power Capsule system. Every capsule shifts a cursor across upgrades: Speed Up, Missile, Double, Laser, Option, Shield. You choose when to cash in. That choice shapes each run. Options floating pods mirroring your shots are essential for covering angles. Die, and you lose everything. Restarting at a checkpoint, nearly powerless. Rebuilding from scratch is one of the most satisfying feelings in arcade gaming. The series demands learning stage layouts and pacing upgrades correctly. This collection gathers the early lineage with excellent emulation, making it the cleanest way to experience where the shmup genre's most important series began, and how it established mechanics the whole genre still uses. Wonder Boy is one of Sega's great arcade action platformer series. and this collection covers 4 key entries showing how dramatically it evolved. The original is pure arcade run, dodge, jump, don't let the timer hit 0. Wonder Boy in Monsterland adds RPG elements, shops, weapons, armor, bosses with patterns. Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap, is an early Metroidvania where you transform between different animals, each with unique abilities, exploring a connected world. Wonder Boy in Monster World continues that RPG evolution with a longer adventure. Playing all 4 back-to-back is like watching a developer grow across generations, from a frantic arcade reflex challenge to a full action RPG in just a few releases. Controls are tight in every entry, and the difficulty is old-school honest. A great companion to the Dragon's Trap remake if you want full franchise history. Cotton is a beloved Japanese arcade shooter from 1991 about a witch obsessed with magical candies called willows. She will absolutely destroy armies of demons and fairies to get them. Cotton Reboot includes both the original arcade version and a fully remastered one. It's a horizontal shooter where the magic system is central. Collect willows and spend them to cast elemental spells with different effects. Fairy companions fly alongside you and can be directed to attack or block. Enemy designs are imaginative and bosses enormous. The remaster keeps the original feel while making everything vivid and sharp. It's weird, funny, and genuinely challenging. Cotton herself is hilariously single-minded about those candies. If you want a classic Japanese arcade shooter with real personality alongside solid gameplay, Cotton Reboot is one of the best introductions on Switch. One of the tightest, most mechanically sophisticated 2D fighters on Switch. The world features a monthly event called the Hollow Knight, where supernatural creatures appear, and characters called Inbirths, people empowered by surviving these encounters, battle each other in the streets. Combat is built around the GRD system, a shared meter between both players that shifts based on aggression. Win the GRD battle and you enter Vorpal state, unlocking a devastating Chain Crown attack. It creates strategic tug-of-war beneath the standard fighting game layer. The roster covers diverse archetypes, rushdown, zoning, grappling, all with distinct mechanics. Deep tutorial mode and rollback netcode both included. Regular tournament presence speaks to the depth. SNK 40th Anniversary Collection. SNK's history before the Neo Geo era is genuinely fascinating, and this collection covers it with 24 arcade and NES games from the late 70s through the 80s. Ikari Warriors, POW, Alpha Mission, Guerrilla War, Crystalis, and more. The games that built SNK before they became fighting game kings. Many are rough by modern standards, but the rewind feature softens the edges. Crystalis in particular, an action RPG with surprisingly deep mechanics and a post-apocalyptic story, holds up better than most and is worth playing start to finish. Museum content is excellent. Documentary footage of original cabinets, full game histories, and developer context. This works best for people who love gaming history and want to understand where SNK came from, not just the Neo Geo era everyone already knows. Sega Mega Drive Classics. Over 50 Sega Genesis titles in one collection. Basically a full retro Sega museum. Games are presented inside a rendered 90s kid's bedroom, with a Mega Drive you browse like a shelf of cartridges. The lineup is extraordinary. Sonic 1-3, Streets of Rage 1-3, Phantasy Star 2-4, Gunstar Heroes, Shinobi 3, Golden Axe, Comic Zone, Toe Jam and Earl, and dozens more. Online multiplayer, rewind, save states, and mirror modes are available across the board. Streets of Rage 2 is arguably the greatest beat-em-up ever made. Gunstar Heroes is one of the greatest run-and-guns. Phantasy Star 4 is a JRPG that deserves to be played today. The collection is generous enough to work both as a nostalgia hit and a genuine discovery experience. Killer Queen Black is one of the most unique multiplayer games on Switch, and barely gets the attention it deserves. Originally a 10-player arcade cabinet, the Switch version adapts it to 4 versus 4 online or local play. You're either a queen or a worker, on a 2D platformer arena 3 ways to win. Collect berries to base, ride a snail across the whole map, or kill the opponent's queen 3 times. The queen flies and is powerful. Workers are weak but fast. They collect berries or ride the snail. Grabbing a weapon gate turns a worker into a lance-armed warrior. All three win conditions create constant tension, forcing teams to constantly adapt. Online play is smooth, and the game rewards genuine communication in a way almost no other Switch multiplayer title manages. Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. 12 Street Fighter games, the definitive franchise history lesson. From the original 1987 arcade game through Street Fighter III Third Strike, covering the full SF2 lineup, the Alpha Trilogy, and the 3 series. Super Street Fighter II Turbo is the gold standard of classic competitive SF. Third Strike, widely considered one of the greatest fighting games ever made, features a parry system rewarding frame-by-frame opponent reading. Online play is available for 4 titles. A deep museum mode covers each game's history with artwork, music, and interviews. Playing through this collection in release order is like watching fighting game design evolve in real time. From arcade simplicity to layered complexity across 12 years of refinement, generation by generation, mechanic by mechanic. Cruis'n Blast. Originally a midway cabinet from 2017, the Switch version adds new tracks. You race through insane environments, volcano eruptions, kaiju attacking cities, underwater segments, Egypt with giant scarabs raining from the sky. The vehicle roster includes a unicorn, a T-Rex, a shark, and a semi-truck. Boosts everywhere, jumps launch you hundreds of feet, rubber band AI keeps every race exciting. No simulation, no tuning, just pure, ridiculous speed. 23 tracks, dozens of unlockable vehicles, and a 4-player local multiplayer mode. The soundtrack is peak late 90s arcade energy. This is the game you boot up when friends are over and everyone immediately wants a turn. No other arcade racer on Switch is this gloriously over the top, and the game completely revels in every second of it. Capcom Fighting Collection. 9 classic Capcom fighters in one package, rescuing several titles from near impossibility to play. The Darkstalkers/Vampire series is the treasure here. Supernatural monsters, including a succubus, mummy, Bigfoot, and Frankenstein's monster, in some of the most visually creative fighters of the era. Vampire Savior is a fast, chain combo heavy fighter competitive players still study today. Red Earth is the rarest gem, a story-driven single-player fighter originally on arcade CPS3 hardware, nearly impossible to experience legitimately until now. The complete Darkstalkers lineup, plus Hyper SF2, Super Gem Fighter, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, and Red Earth are all included. Online play, training modes, and full museum mode. Atari 50 is an interactive documentary covering 50 years of gaming history, one of the most thoughtfully constructed retro compilations ever released. Over 100 games span Atari's full history, from the Pong era through Jaguar, including Centipede, Missile Command, Asteroids, Tempest, Battlezone, and Yars Revenge. Interactive historical segments with developer interviews, archival footage, and documents tell the creation story of each game. Remixed, recharged versions of classic games modernize old concepts with new visuals and mechanics. You're not just playing games, you're walking through a museum of where video games came from. Even without prior Atari experience, the historical content is fascinating and well-produced. This is the kind of release that makes you genuinely appreciate gaming's roots in a way few collections ever attempt. Raiden is one of the most iconic vertical shooter series in arcade history, and this Switch release is the best way to play Raiden 4. The big addition is the Mikado Remix, a complete soundtrack overhaul recorded at the legendary Mikado Arcade in Japan, performed by musicians who grew up playing Raiden. The result is genuinely excellent music that feels like a proper love letter. Gameplay is classic Raiden, 7 stages of military-themed enemy waves picking up weapons from ground targets. The plasma cannon is the signature. Charge it for a devastating spread blast. Difficulty climbs hard in later stages, demanding tight, precise movement. All DLC included, plus score attack mode and local co-op. For fans of old-school arcade shooters wanting the feel of pumping quarters into a real cabinet, Raiden 4 X Mikado Remix captures that feeling better than almost anything else on Switch. Shadow of the Ninja was a dark, underrated NES ninja game from 1990, and this 2024 remake does it complete justice. Set in a near-future New York under the rule of a ruthless emperor, two ninja operatives, Hayate and Kaede, are sent in alone to bring him down. Everything is rebuilt in gorgeous pixel art with fluid animation and new content not in the original, new stages, enemies, and story moments. Two characters play distinctly differently. Combat uses a katana, a kusarigama chain weapon, wall clinging, and limited bombs. Full local co-op throughout the campaign. Level design is tight and fair, enemies are well placed, and the bosses are memorable. This is the rare remake that honestly makes a strong case as a standalone experience. For fans of precise, well-designed ninja action platformers, this sits comfortably alongside the best on Switch. Yars Rising. Part sequel to the Atari 2600 classic Yars Revenge, part modern Metroidvania, fully developed by WayForward. You play as Emi Kimura, a young hacker who infiltrates a massive tech corporation called QRAX to expose their secrets. As Emi hacks into systems, she experiences visions of the Yar, the alien race from the original game, and the corporation's dark connection to that world slowly becomes clear. Exploration and platforming are WayForward smooth, with abilities unlocking as you progress. The hacking minigames directly adapt Yars Revenge gameplay, shooting barriers, collecting cells, firing the Zorlon cannon, making them feel like genuine gameplay rather than filler. The story takes interesting turns as Emi's world and the Yars world begin to intersect. A thoughtful Metroidvania that makes the original Atari game feel meaningful by giving it new context. Guilty Gear Strive is where Arc System Works made Guilty Gear more approachable without sacrificing depth. The series delivers aggressive, anime-styled combat and stunning visuals. Strive does both extraordinarily. Characters animate like moving paintings, stages look like living oil artwork. Combat runs on the Roman cancel system. Spending meter mid-animation extends combos, converts defensive situations, or creates mix-up pressure. The wall system adds tension. Push your opponent to a corner and break through it for massive damage. Every character is wildly distinct in playstyle. A robust story mode plays like a full animated film. Rollback netcode and all DLC characters available on Switch. One of the strongest fighting games on any platform and beautiful in handheld mode.
Rebel 2, action! Rebel 2, action!
Wild Guns on the SNES in 1994 was a shooting gallery action game with a Wild West meets sci-fi aesthetic nobody else was doing, and the remaster earns its place on Switch. You aim a cursor around the screen while your character auto-runs and jumps. Enemies swarm from every direction. Cowboys, robots, mechs, and you dodge their fire by jumping or diving while maintaining your shooting. Lassoing enemies stuns them and prevents counterfire, adding tactical depth. Reloaded adds 2 new characters, Cowgirl Doris and Robot Bullet, and 4-player local co-op that turns the already chaotic action into beautiful madness. Boss encounters are creative and challenging. The whole thing plays like genuinely nothing else on Switch. An underrated gem that deserves far more attention than it gets, and perfect for groups looking for something unusual and energetic to play together. Kaze and the Wild Masks. If you've been missing the feel of classic 16-bit SNS platformers, Donkey Kong Country specifically, Kaze and the Wild Masks is what you want. Kaze rescues her friend Hogo from a curse that turned the Island of Masks into a monster-filled danger zone. Tight, responsive controls from the first second. The mask system is the hook. Wild Masks transform Kaze into different animals mid-stage. Lizard Mask lets her sprint up walls and cross ceilings. Shark Mask makes underwater sections into fast speed runs. Tiger Mask gives a ground-pounding rush. Eagle Mask sends her flying across entire stages in seconds. Each world introduces a new mask and builds its stages around that mask's movement specifically. The pixel art is stunning, one of the best-looking 2D games on Switch. Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. Pocky is a shrine maiden, Rocky is her Tanuki companion, and together they fight waves of demons in a top-down shooter. Pocky throws paper talismans that destroy enemy bullets as well as enemies. Rocky whacks things with his leaf. Each character has distinct abilities and weapons. The gameplay scrolls in all directions through gorgeous hand-drawn environments with enemies attacking from every side. Block and reflect projectiles, shoot in 8 directions, use screen-clearing bombs. Boss encounters are spectacular. Reshrined adds new characters, new stages, and online co-op. The art style is vibrant and distinctly Japanese, pulling enemy designs from yokai folklore with real visual imagination. It's joyful, genuinely challenging, and one of those games that becomes twice as fun the moment a second player joins you. The Ultimate TMNT Collection. 13 games covering the full NES, SNES, Game Boy, and arcade history of the franchise. The arcade games are the real stars. TMNT, 1989, and Turtles in Time, 1991, are two of the greatest arcade beat-em-ups ever made. Turtles in Time is near perfect. Leo, Donnie, Raph, and Mikey battle through time periods from prehistoric ages to feudal Japan to the far future, throwing foot soldiers into the screen and pile-driving enemies on other enemies' heads. Controls are fluid, pacing is relentless, and 4-player co-op is the gold standard for the genre. The NES trilogy, SNES port, Tournament Fighters, and Game Boy games round out the package with full museum content, concept art, original ads, documentation. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Arcade Classics. 6 legendary versus fighters back from licensing limbo. Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and The Punisher Beat 'em Up. All were difficult or impossible to play legitimately for years. Now they're all here with rollback netcode, training modes, and museum content. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 alone, 56 character roster, DHC combos, assist characters, frantic 3-on-3 tag battles, is worth the price of admission. The tag mechanics, variable assists, and hyper combo extensions produce spectacular moments of chaos that still look incredible. This represents a critical era of fighting game history that almost disappeared. Its return is a genuine event. That's the list. 35 arcade games on Switch worth your time. Fighters, shooters, classics, hidden gems. The Switch library is genuinely stacked. What's your number one? Drop it in the comments. See you next time.